UFC 291, Poirier versus Gaethje 2, full card prediction. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so hyped for this UFC pay-per-view. There has been some cancellations, there have been some switcheroos on the card, but overall, the main card is looking amazing. And this is not the exact bout order. There it is. This is the bout order for UFC 291. Gaethje Poirier main event, Blachowicz Pereira in the co-main event. We're going to get Thompson and Pereira as the third to last fight of the card. Ferguson versus Green and Chiesa versus Holland is going to be opening up that UFC pay-per-view. I don't know why they do this, but they have a women's MMA fight opening up the entire card. Again, I don't know why. I would open it up with CJ Vergara and Vinicius Salvador and just start off the card with a bang, but that's what they're going to do. And somehow, I don't understand that at all, Derrick Lewis, Marcos Rogerio de Lima isn't the feature prelim. It's not the feature prelim, which is crazy, but that's the actual bout order. Let's get into the full card prediction. Matthew Semelsberger and Uros in the welterweight division. I am going to go with, I'm just kidding, I'm not going to tell you just yet. Matt Semelsberger is the same height, but a lot lengthier than Uros at 75 inches. Uros is smaller, moving up from lightweight to the welterweight division. He was coming off that knockout win on Omar Morales. Did lose to a solid top 15 guy in Jalen Turner before that, and just finish after finish after finish in the UFC's lightweight division, all in round number 1 or in round number 2. He is a kill or be killed type of guy, but Matthew Semelsberger doesn't have the most finishes in MMA. He's got a few first round knockouts in 15 and 16 seconds earlier in his career, had a bunch of finishes outside of the UFC, but out of his 5 UFC wins, 3 of them have gone all of the way. Personally, I do actually expect a finish here. I expect Uros to go out and win round number 1. He's going to be like, I got to go out and knock this man out like he does every single fight. He's going to hurt Semelsberger on the feet, get close to the finish, and I think Semelsberger will survive, enter round number 2 and round 3 with a vengeance. Ground and pound Uros after the takedown, land some big shots on the feet, and a tired, wobbled Uros I do believe, will get finished in round number 2. Or in round number 3. Either way, I believe that they started off this card as the first fight of the night. That would be amazing, because this does have a potential fight of the night written all over it if it was a regular UFC fight night. Obviously, we got Poirier and Gaethje, so it's not going to get fight of the night, but it is a banger nonetheless. I got Semelsberger, end of round 2 or beginning of round 3. Miranda, Maverick, Priscila, Cachoeira in the flyweight division. Younger is Miranda Maverick, who is not as tall but more lengthy than Priscila Cachoeira. Priscila is on a little bit of a win streak, 4-1 in her last 5 fights with 2 KO wins in a row, a decision on Ji-Yeon Kim, which was a robbery, and then a knockout on Ariane Lipski. Did lose to Jillian Robertson, but that Jillian Robertson fight is exactly what I expect to happen here, except for the finish. I think Miranda's going to do what she did in her fights with Sabina Mazo and Shayna Young, take down Priscila over and over and over again, control this fight on the ground, and like Tapology is saying, we got another decisionation on our hands with Miranda Maverick. I know she was able to submit Sabina Mazo, but it was really late into that fight. Priscila, she's a tough girl. She will make it dangerous on the feet with her striking, but I think Miranda will grind her way to a decision here in the women's flyweight division. Not to mention, it is short notice. Joanne Wood was supposed to have her retirement fight here. She withdrew due to unknown circumstances, and I do believe Miranda wins this fight, probably wins one more, and then gets a shot back into the top 15. Jake Matthews and Darius Flowers in the welterweight division. This one just got announced in the last few days. As the original opponent ended up pulling out. Miguel Baeza withdrew. I'm not too sure why. Darius Flowers stepping in at 28 years old, not as tall, not as lengthy as Jake Matthews, but on a good win streak of finishes. 3 knockout wins in a row with a slam finish on Amaran Gogoleji, a Georgian prospect on the Contender Series. He's got a lot of power in his hands and a lot of finishing ability in round number 1. But Jake Matthews is just so much better when it does hit those later rounds. Good volume, good technical striking as well. I think Darrius will put it on Jake Matthews early on in round number 1, but I think he'll start to fade a little bit as the fight goes on. Jake is going to be more and more comfortable to lands on Darius Flowers as the fight goes on, and I think round number 2 or round number 3, we got another solid finish from Jake Matthews in the welterweight division. CJ Vergara and Vinicius Salvador in the flyweight division. This could very well be the prelim of the night. In the flyweight division, taller and lengthier is Vinicius Salvador, who had a lot of good wins outside the UFC. Knocked out Shannon Ross on the Contender Series and lost to Victor Altamirano. Really close fight in his last one 2 months ago. CJ Vergara just knocked out Daniel Lacerda, beat Clenchin Rodriguez in a robbery, and beat Bruno Correa. Did lose to Tatsuro Taira by submission, but nothing he really needs to worry about, as both guys here do like to bang and strike on the feet, and that is what I expect. I expect Vinicius to be landing more volume than CJ Vergara at range, and just to land more shots on the outside. CJ to close that distance every now and then, and just overall land the bigger shots. Keep his head moving and come in and out with big looping shots. Onto Vinicius Salvador. I expect a war. I expect a battle. I expect an amazing fight, but I think CJ Vergara does enough to land the better shots here, and I do expect this one to go all the way to a decision. CJ Vergara, 29-28 decision. I am curious to see if there are odds yet, which I'm not sure there are, on to fight going to a decision. There aren't just yet, so we're going to have to wait on that. But I'm assuming not a lot of people are thinking a fight like this would go all the way. Never mind indeed, a lot of people thinking that. I changed my mind, but I got CJ Vergara by unanimous decision. Roman Kopylov and Claudio Ribeiro in the middleweight division. Very fun fight. Claudio able to knock out Joseph Holmes in his last one, but he got knocked out himself against Abdulrazak Al-Hassan in the one before that. I do believe Claudio is more explosive, is a little bit more powerful than Roman Kopylov early on in the fights, but a lot of those guys do fade as the fight goes on, and Roman is coming off 2 knockout wins of his own that were not round 1 knockout wins. They were round number 3 and round number 2 knockout wins, where he just keeps on pouring on the volume and more volume. That's what I see happening here. I think Claudio drops and hurts badly Roman Kopylov in round number 1 and just gasses himself out. Round number 2, I got Roman pouring on the pressure, and midway through in the round, I got him knocking out Claudio Ribeiro with his back to the cage. Boom, hook, body shot. Roman Kopylov, round number 2, TKO. Trevin Giles and Gabriel Bonfim in the welterweight division. I am going to go with Gabriel to win this fight. He is taller. He's not as lengthy as Trevin Giles right there, but Trevin has not looked good in his last 2 fights with Preston Parsons as well as Luis Cosi. He did get hurt before that against Michael Morales and Dricos Duplessis, and I'll be honest, his grappling and wrestling has not really impressed me in his last 2 fights. I believe Gabriel Bonfim is going to have a huge advantage when it comes to the jiu-jitsu and grappling game. I think they're going to strike very evenly on the feet. I don't think it's going to be super exciting when they are striking, just some leg kicks, some front kicks, some jabs, and 1-2s. And I do believe there's going to be a moment somewhere in round number 1 where Gabriel Bonfim lands a decent shot on Trevin Giles, hurts him on the feet, because Trevin Giles is known for not really having the absolute best chin in the welterweight division. And then Gabriel catches him a little bit on the feet, but doesn't choose to ground and pound, gets a takedown, and I got Gabriel Bonfim catching Trevin Giles with another choke, guillotine, Von Flue, Darce choke, rear naked choke, whatever the case may be. I think he hurts Trevin on the feet and finishes him off on the ground with a submission in round number 1. Derrick Lewis and Marcos Rogerio de Lima in the heavyweight division. I will admit, my original prediction for this fight was a weird one. It was Marcos Rogerio de Lima by a decision. I did believe that he was just going to kind of grind Derrick Lewis, work on his cardio, grapple him, kind of control him against the cage and hold him there and tire him out, and win a decision that way with very, very minimal actual striking at range. But the more and more that I think about that, it's still a very big possibility that Marcos can just grind and grind and grind with the clinch work and with the wrestling and with the grappling and win a decision here. I got a weird feeling. I got a weird feeling in the back of my mind that Derrick Lewis is going to catch him. I got a weird feeling, man. And when I get that weird feeling, I got to go with my instinct here. I'm going to go Derrick Lewis to catch the chin of Marcos as he is coming in and knock him out in round number 1. Marcos, I don't believe has been knocked out before. He's been knocked out one time in his professional MMA career. Must have been this Carlos Eduardo one like 9 or 10 years ago. I think it's gonna happen again. Again, my original prediction, and I already bet Marcos Rogerio de Lima at plus money. I changed my mind. I'm gonna go Derrick Lewis to catch Marcos Rogerio de Lima coming in. It's not a technical prediction at all. Could very well be my original prediction on Marcos grinding to that decision. But I got a feeling Derrick Lewis, round number 1 or round number 2, overhand right, TKO. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Michel Pereira in the welterweight division. I think Michel Pereira, Stephen Thompson is at least minimum top 3 best fights on this card for UFC 291. It is hard to be at the top of the list with Poirier and Gaethje on the card as well, but this is a banger nonetheless. Prime 29-year-old Michel Pereira with a lot of experience. I'm talking, what is that? Let's do a quick math here. 39 professional MMA fights. He is taller than Steven, not as lengthy as Steven, but he's got power, he's got speed, he's got elusiveness, able to beat Chaos Williams in the striking, able to beat Nico Price in the striking, able to outstrike Andre Fialio and Santiago Ponzinibbio as well. But he hasn't had a knockout inside of the UFC in a very, very long time. The last one was Danny Roberts in his UFC debut when he landed that flying knee. Since then, he has not been able to land any sort of knockout shot in the UFC, and if that's the case, Steven is going to have his time closing in that distance and coming in and out with his karate stance, landing good jabs, landing good side kicks to the body of Michel, and just working Michel at range. It's going to be really fun. Michel's going to come forward with crazy kicks, crazy jumping stuff, front flip, back flips, all of the goodies. And Steven's just going to stay composed and counter as Michel comes in. Seems like a very self-explanatory one. Michel isn't a type of guy that gets knocked out very often. The last one was Dusko Todorovic, up a weight class on short notice. I highly doubt that's going to happen again. That is his only knockout loss. I got this one going all the way. Stephen Thompson by a decision. Banger. Michael Chiesa and Kevin Holland in the welterweight division. Younger and taller and lengthier is Kevin Holland here by a lot in all 3 categories, coming off the Ponzinibbio knockout, whereas Michael Chiesa came off the Rafael dos Anjos, Neil Magny, and Diego Sanchez decisions while losing to Vicente Luque and Sean Brady. You look at the Vicente Luque one, he was getting outstruck on the feet, went for the takedown, and he got caught with a submission. And the Sean Brady one, he was getting out-wrestled and out-grappled and controlled on the ground. Anthony Pettis, a fluky submission on the ground. Kevin Lee, the same thing. I don't expect any of these fluky submission type of things from Kevin Holland. I know he has some okay jiu-jitsu skills. Darce Tim Means in round number 2, so it's possible that he could go out there and submit one of these guys, or submit Michael Chiesa in the fight. Like, Michael Chiesa does get submitted a lot, but I do have a feeling this one goes all the way because I don't really think Kevin Holland wants anything to do with the jiu-jitsu or with the wrestling of Chiesa, because Chiesa is smothering with his control, and ground and pound is just staying on you and weathering and just kind of wearing on you on the ground. I believe Kevin Holland's going to use that height, use that reach, counter Michael Chiesa as he comes in, rock Michael Chiesa a few times as he comes in. Whenever he does hurt Michael Chiesa, Michael's going to shoot some takedowns and survive. I got it going all the way. Maybe one round to Michael Chiesa if he's able to land that takedown. But overall, I got this one going to Kevin Holland. Should be a fun fight. 29-28 decision. Bobby Green and Tony Ferguson in the lightweight division. I am going to go, sadly, Bobby Green will win a 30-27 decision here. I think Tony, like a lot of people, I think Tony's kind of off his, out of his prime, off his prime situation. He lost to Gaethje very dominantly, and took a lot of damage in that one. Got controlled by Oliveira, controlled by Darrius. A lot of submission attempts from Oliveira that he survives. Then he took a lot of damage from Michael Chandler with that front kick to the face, but was able to still land some good shots. I believe Tony will have a few moments here where maybe he lands a few shots that clip Bobby Green on the feet. But I think Bobby Green is going to have more of those moments because Tony's a lot slower than he once was. When he comes in to land whatever shots he's trying to land, when he's trying to go for Eminari rolls and crazy stuff, he's going to do it a lot slower than he usually does, leaving openings for Bobby Green to land as Tony Ferguson is coming in. But Bobby Green isn't necessarily the most powerful guy in the UFC's lightweight division. Did knock out Al Iaquinta, but other than that, he has not had a single knockout win for the past 10 years. For the past 10 years, it was only the Al Iaquinta one. So personally, I think he survives to the decision. I think Bobby Green outstrikes him at range. When he comes in with his slow strikes, Bobby's just going to jab and 1-2 him and out-volume him for 3 straight rounds. Bobby Green by unanimous decision. Jan Blachowicz and Alex Pereira. Winner is going to get a title shot next. Age advantage going Alex Pereira. Height and reach advantage going Alex Pereira. Size advantage? I don't really know. Pereira is moving up from middleweight to light heavyweight. But still, he could be bigger than Jan Blachowicz because he's just that big of a UFC middleweight. Obviously, wrestling and grappling goes Jan Blachowicz. Striking is going Alex Pereira. So this one is going to come down pretty much to, can Jan Blachowicz go out there and get the takedown? He very well can, but the more and more time that elapses, and the more and more that Alex Pereira continues to train with Glover Teixeira with the wrestling and grappling, the more and more I start to think that a 40-year-old Jan Blachowicz's chin might be a little bit different than it once was. I mean, he didn't take a lot of big punches from Magomed Ankalaev in their fight. Didn't take a lot of big punches from Alexander Rakic. He's going to take a lot of big punches here from Alex Pereira in this fight. Obviously, I think he's going to go out there, land some good takedowns of his own, and have some good control time, good ground and pound, maybe some submission attempts. But I think Alex Pereira is going to use his size, his strength to get back up on a few of those takedown attempts and land the bigger shots on Jan Blachowicz. It's not going to be a confident prediction at all, as you're going to see with a confident picks video, considering Jan has only been knocked out 2 times in his professional MMA career by Thiago Santos about 4 years ago and Ramil Fieri Socodito like 12 years ago. I think this one has a good chance of going all the way and maybe a grinding, controlling decision win from Jan Blachowicz. But I think what the UFC gods want is an Alex Pereira catching Jan as he comes in, and then Jiri Prochazka entering the cage for a vacant light heavyweight title fight. Alex Pereira, Jiri Prochazka, UFC 297, 2024. Would be absolutely amazing. I think that'd be a banger. And Jan Blachowicz, if he wins, I don't actually think he'll get the title fight. I think they might actually schedule a Magomed Ankalaev Jan Blachowicz rematch, considering that one was a draw. But if Pereira wins, it's a no-brainer. He's getting the title fight. Should be very interesting. My original prediction was Blachowicz just to control and just hold him on the ground for 3 straight rounds, but the MMA gods want what they want, and that's a knockout from Alex Pereira. Should be a good one nonetheless. Pereira TKO. Dustin the Diamond Poirier and Justin Gaethje for the vacant UFC Bantamweight MF belt. I'm just kidding. The Bad Mofo belts in the 155-pound weight class. This is a rematch from a very long time ago. If you remember their first fight, it was a good long time ago, about 5 years ago, in the main event UFC on Fox 29. In Glendale, Arizona, went all the way to round number 4. It was a 50-50 fight on the betting odds, but Poirier landed a deadly combination at the beginning of round 4, landed on the chin of Justin Gaethje, a few more ground-and-pound shots, and that fight was over. But after that, Gaethje went on a tear, destroying James Vick in round number 1, destroying Edson Barboza in round 1, destroying Donald Cerrone in round 4, absolutely dominating Tony Ferguson for 5 straight rounds, except for that uppercut. Getting the title shot, losing, fight of the night with Michael Chandler, maybe even fight of the year, landing and dropping the champ Charles Oliveira, losing that one, and then coming back to a fight of the night win on Rafael Fiziev. He's had a little bit of an up and down career since that first one to Dustin Poirier, but the same thing could be said for him. After that Gaethje won, he beat 2 former champs in a row, fought for the belt, lost, went on a win streak, lost to the champ again, and then had a banger of a fight at UFC 281. And now we have the fight of the night in the main event, Dustin Poirier and Justin Gaethje. And I will believe, I'm not going to go out here and say this is going to be 5 rounds of striking. I don't believe that. I don't believe this is going to be 5 rounds of striking. I think that Poirier is going to try to be smart here and try to mix in some wrestling and some jiu-jitsu. Not to absolutely dominate and control the fight on the ground, but when he hurts Justin Gaethje on the feet, I do believe there's going to be some takedowns and jiu-jitsu mixed in. A few minutes here and there, not a whole lot, but for the majority of this fight, it's going to be striking. Like, that's the main case here, is the majority, 90-80% of this fight is going to be a striking fight. And Gaethje, I think, is going to win early. Michael Chandler was able to win that round number 1 on Dustin Poirier, looked pretty good in there. Conor McGregor was the same thing. Poirier doesn't really do good in round number 1. Gaethje does good every round and is able to just go out there and land some really, really big shots and hurt you early on in the fight. And I think Gaethje goes out there round 1 a little bit like a bat out of hell and rocks Poirier on the feet, hurts him a little bit. And then that round's going to end. It's going to come into round number 2, and Poirier's going to make it a little bit of a slower fight. He's going to be like, I cannot get hurt again. I'm down a round. I need to get my round back. And I think that time, he's going to catch Justin Gaethje as he's coming in. Gaethje's going to come in and land the same shot, and Poirier's going to catch him coming in. He's going to go down to round number 3. It's going to be 1-1. Round 1, Gaethje hurts Poirier, and it's a really good round. Round 2, Poirier catches Gaethje as he comes in, and it goes to round number 3. And round 3, I don't think either man will get wobbled. At that point, they're going to take it a little bit slower, pick it up as that round goes on. I don't think either guy wobbles in round number 3. I just think it's going to be a technical one, where at that point, Gaethje is going to be like, I got to start landing more leg kicks. And I think he's really going to start to pour on the pressure with those leg kicks on Poirier. The punches are going to be even, but I think the leg kicks are what are going to give Justin Gaethje the advantage. In round number 3, I think they give Gaethje round number 3. And at that point, Poirier needs to win the rounds. Round number 4 and round number 5, or get a finish if he wants to win this fight. And in round number 4, I think again, Poirier rocks Justin Gaethje, just like their last fight in round number 4. And people are going to be like, oh my gosh, are we about to see another Poirier round 4 KO? And then Gaethje survives, and we have it 2-2 entering the final round. Round 1 goes to Gaethje. Round 2 to Poirier. Round 3 to Gaethje. Round 4 to Poirier. And round 5, they are bloodied. They are battered. They come forward, and Gaethje walks right into some counters from Poirier. Still pressuring forward. Poirier's countering. Gaethje's coming in. Gaethje's landing some good shots. Still landing big leg kicks at range. And I do believe one of the judges will give that final round number 5 to Justin Gaethje. One of them will give it to Dustin Poirier, and the other one will give it to Dustin Poirier. I think we're going to have an up and down, back and forth, absolute war. Round 1, Gaethje rocks Poirier. Round 2, Poirier rocks Gaethje. Round 3, Gaethje outlands Poirier with the kicks and wins that round. Round 4, Poirier rocks Gaethje. And round 5, I don't think either man gets rocked, but they both land some good shots, and pressure in is Gaethje coming forward, landing some big shots. Poirier countering as he's coming in, checking the leg kicks of Gaethje. Gaethje going hard and landing the leg kicks of his own. And it's a really, really close fight. Round 5 could go either way, but nobody's going to care because of how much of an absolute banger it is in the lightweight division. And I do believe they give that to Poirier. I think they give that to Poirier. And Islam Makhachev beats Oliveira at UFC 294. And I think we do Poirier versus Islam Makhachev in 2024. It's going to be a fight of the night. It is going to be a banger. What do y'all think? Poirier Gaethje rematch. That is it for the full card prediction. I got Dustin Poirier by a split decision. Alex Pereira, round number 1. Round number 2, knockout. Bobby Green, 30-27 decision. Kevin Holland, 29-28 decision. Stephen Thompson, 30-27 decision. Derrick Lewis, round 1, round 2, knockout. Gabriel Bonfim, round 1, submission. Roman Kopylov, round 2, TKO. CJ Vergara, 29-28 decision. Jake Matthews, round 2, round 3, TKO. Miranda Maverick, unanimous decision. Matthew Semelsberger with the TKO in round 2 or round number 3. That is the UFC 291 full card prediction. Like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.